IVM.
Welcome to another week on IVM. It's been a great week, and if you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. On Geek Fruit this week, Tejas and Dinkar discuss their favorite movie soundtracks. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma talks to researcher and activist Amit Chandra, and they dissect India's education sector. On Cyrus Says, we have writer and director Anand Sivakumaran, who's hosting a great new show for us called Croc Tales as well. Anand and Cyrus talk about how Anand journeyed from an engineer to a full-time writer. On Simplified, Naren, Chuck, and Shriketh go to the root of the word assassin and twisted an interesting history behind it. This week on Shunyan, we're joined by Sanjay Nath, who is the co-founder and managing partner at Bloom Ventures. We have a really interesting conversation about investing. On Marbles Lost and Found, Zen and Avanti talk to psychotherapist Alicia Halani. And also this week marks the 50th episode of the Pragati podcast. Hosts Hamsini Hariharan and Pawan Srinath sit down to talk about the long, strange trip it's been and also round up some of the recent news. And with that, I'm going to take you on to your shows.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. We are talking about Indian football, but not really. We will come to that in a bit because the football fever World Cup has just ended, and it's ended on a high. 6 goals in the World Cup final. Among that is an own goal. You don't see that rarely. And that was action-packed. One man scores at both ends of the field. Mandzukic for Croatia scores an own goal and also makes it up by scoring a goal for his country. But it wasn't enough. Croatia could not stand up to the pressure of France. They just ran away with this. 4-2 was the final score. France are the world champions, and they have bagged yet another world title. Croatia, they lived the dream. They made it so far. I think they were one of the most surprising teams, and they did really fight it out right till the end. But it wasn't going to be that night as yesterday, and it was all France. And there we have it. Almost a month of football action once in every 4 years has ended, and it just leaves us high and dry, waiting, asking for more. But here we are talking about football. If not Indian football, if not world football, we have to talk about what's happening in and around the world. And joining me is Chiranjeet. Chiranjeet, what did you think about the final?
Oh man, crazy. I think this is the antithesis of that boring ass final we had between it. Was that 2010 final? Sorry, 2006 final was it? Italy, France. See, I don't even remember who the hell played in that game. It was a boring-ass game that almost put me to sleep. But this one was just had me jumping off from my seat from the get-go. And I was a little bit worried that France, having their past reputation, they might go into a shell and play a waiting game. And Croatia being playing in the World Cup final for the first time might get the big stage jitters and all that. But France actually were playing a little bit conservatively. If you remember the early minutes of the game, it was Croatia who carried the game, in my opinion. They started off on an attacking note, and they were keeping the ball, they were creating chances, and that actually pulled France out of their shell, because they knew that with the amount of chances that Croatia were creating, France had to strike, otherwise they were not secure up there. If this was a team like Italy or England who would not be the aggressor, it could have turned into a bore fest. But this has been a very high octane World Cup, and I'm glad it came to a conclusion with such a beautiful attacking goal fest for game. And France I think won it because they deserved it.
Yeah.
It should have been a France versus Belgium final. That would have been the pinnacle of team game in this competition. But yeah, I'll take this. Croatia have a fairy tale to offer, which we can look back to for the next 4 years. I think next time as well they will try to put up a great show. But this will always be that one tournament where they came out to the world and shocked everybody. So yeah, it will be remembered as Croatia's coming out party, even though France won it. Because anyway, France winning the World Cup you expect, given the way other teams folded. Brazil, Argentina, even the other heavyweights, England choking up. But Croatia is the beautiful flower that this World Cup has gifted to the entire planet.
Yeah. Talking about memories and talking about the good things that happened from this World Cup, Chiranjeev, tell me a few moments that you felt really will stay with you forever.
Well, this entire World Cup has been filled with, memorable moments. One of the things that will stay with me forever is how Russian fans, conducted themselves in front of the world. Kind of reminded me of the way Indian fans, did at the Under-17 World Cup. But this is a bigger stage. There's a brighter spotlight on everybody. So this is how a host should conduct themselves. After winning, they celebrated like crazy, but with control and poise. And even after losing, after being knocked out, they conducted themselves with grace. And that's what you have to do. That's what I hope someday India will do. And when you host a World Cup, the world really comes to you. It does. Only World Cup and Olympics give you this kind of globality and coverage. So it's very important to learn from Russia how they have hosted and conducted this World Cup. This and I guess this would be the World Cup where the myth of superstardom was completely destroyed. And look, it's a World Cup that I will point to every time people try to hype up one player too much. And this will remain as the prime example that football is a team game, not a game for superstars. Like, look at what happened to Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Harry Kane. Every hyped star who came in failed because the team did not, the squad was not good enough to support them. Mbappe may be the standout star, but he was assisted by a slew of very good squad players. And there were times when he took the backseat. It wasn't just him, it was Griezmann. It was even Giroud. It was anybody who used their physical presence to create chances for each other and take the whole team forward. It was Hugo Lloris who kept France in the game so many times when a lesser goalkeeper would have conceded. So it's a great lesson. It's a great lesson to see from France. It's a great lesson to see from Croatia, who definitely don't have the kind of superstars that we see global football circle around, or the global fan bases jumping on bandwagons after this player or that player. It's a great example to cite that one or two players are not going to do anything. You need to groom an entire football culture so that we can have 11 very good squad players who can, take an entire nation forward. And that's what it is. It may be a unity. It may be a message for, inclusive diversity. But again, I'm going on a tangent. Back to you, Kevin.
Yeah, there it is. And I think one of the moments that I will remember, I think even the way Japanese players and staff finished off their tournament in this World Cup. I think they left the dressing room so spotless and with a heart-touching message there. That really shows, it's more than just a game. And there, I think one of the key moments was even the Germans crashing out. I think that was one of the biggest. It's something we did not expect. Even the last game was, it was anybody's game at that moment, and then the grit and the resilience shown by so many teams. I think that will stay on forever. I think it's been a World Cup that everybody was, surprised to some extent at least. And on that note, we will be heading into a break. On the other side, we will be talking something about the Indian football, which we've missed for quite some time. And there we have it. Come back to us after the break.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says. A show that encapsulates everything in human history, From the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's simple as A, B, oh God, what comes after that?
Welcome back after the break, and here we are talking about Indian football. And in Indian football, we're not talking about the Kolkata clubs as Chiranjeev would have jumped on and just started talking about it. We are talking about the national team, the senior national team. Yes, there's a tournament coming up, the SAFF Championship, which India has been dominating for so many years, and it's at hand again. And we've got some news about the squad being announced. Chiranjeev, any surprises there?
Well, it is not the SAFF Championship squad. It's a squad for an exposure tour that's going to happen in Australia in August.
Australia?
That's a good thing. It's going to... So first they're going to assemble in Delhi for the camp, and then they're going to go to Australia to play some matches. I think this is what the AIFF has come up with as a replacement thing for the Indian under-23 squad. They were supposed to go to the Asian Games, but IOA, pulled the ladder from under our feet, and we are not going to Indonesia for the Asian Games, so we're going to Australia instead, and hopefully they arrange some good friendlies over there with the good club sides or whatever else they can arrange. So this is mostly an Indian under-22 side, which is why you don't see big names in this. You don't see even the three mandatory senior players are also absent. It's a squad for the future. It's a glimpse at what we will see after the 2019 Asian Cup, and when the current batch of senior players. Some of these are already there in the national squad, but after the people that are regulars sort of take a back seat, this is what the national team will look like. Maybe hopefully unless somebody else rises to the ranks in I League. So this is what we are looking at. Vishal Kait obviously has not has been with the national team camp has not gotten too much game time. I don't think he's made a debut. Kabir Taufik is another young prospect. Kamaljeet Singh and Prabhsukhan Gill. So these are the four goalkeepers. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I think Vishal Kait stands out. And looking at Prabhsukhan Gill, Indian Arrows team, he comes in after Dheeraj was moved out, and I think it's a great squad to have with players who've got regular goal time, goal playing, and. I think here we are looking at a good sign of seeing a young squad participate in an exposure to. I think this has been long awaited by many, and it's close now. It's a good idea to have at least a friendly, and this is more than a friendly. Probably we will test ourselves in conditions outside India, and that's very important when you go for tournaments that are not played as hosts. So I think it's a good mix to have in the goalkeeping department.
Yeah, well, Prabhsukhan has been a standout star in the I League. Has always been under Dheeraj's shadow, if I can say that, in the under 17 national team. But yeah, it's good to see him getting that nod. Dheeraj, it would have been interesting if he was thrown in the mix, but of course he's going elsewhere. He will be busy with his club. So this is the side that Constantine has chosen to go with. Nishu Kumar, Umesh Perambra, these are very interesting picks for defenders. Davinder Singh and Chinglen Sana. Chinglen Sana, if you remember, had a unfortunate incident at the national team camp. Some interview that he had given earlier before going to the camp was published on a website when he was at the camp, and that led to them suspecting that he had actually given an interview to a media house, defying the orders of the national team management, and he ran into some disciplinary issues there. It was later cleared up, but he has been sort of sidelined from the national team ever since. But it's good to see him getting a chance again in this exposure tour. So what do you think of these defenders that we've got?
A couple of them have already played for the national side, and they've been almost first picks, I would say. So this is really a strong side to have in the defensive area, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the leading part done by these players who already been part of the national camp for a long time.
Yeah, well, some superstars, some de facto superstars already in the defense here. And to think that this is actually an under 23 or under 22 side, which is practically being still groomed. There's Nishu, who is a star. Who is a star. Salam Ranjan Singh again. Sathak Golui, Lalruat Khala, Subhashis Bose, Jerry Laldinswala. All of these are de facto superstars already. And that just goes on to show how much the spotlight has shifted towards young talent in Indian football over the last couple of years. Jerry has already played. Subhashis Bose, I hope he gets to play very soon. I hope he gets to play in SAFF Championship. It's a really he brings that kind of physical presence that it's still rare. We get that from Anam Mandal or from Chingan, but this guy is also good in the air, so another valuable addition potentially going into the Asian Cup. Midfielders, Kevin. What do you think?
Before you get into it, I'm really, really happy to see Suresh Singh there. I think he really doesn't look like an under-22 player. He really is somebody who's very mature in his game, and we saw him doing so well for Neroka FC, and he was one of the stars. And you require those creative minds in the midfield, and along with his physical presence, I think he's a great addition, and probably I see him as a good potential for the national pick as well.
And the other few players that are there are also so important to look up to. And again, a lot of familiar places here, players who are already keeping an eye on for the last couple of years. Vinit Rai is there. Jirmanpreet, well, you can't do it without him. Anirudh Thapa, again, another one. Rohit Kumar is there. Suresh Singh Wangjam, as you said. Arjun Jairaj, Nikhil Pujari, Isaac, one more from another Shillong Lajong product. Nanda Kumar, well, we know him. Udanta Singh, obviously the Flash is there as well. Lalianzuala, back in the action, in the middle of it. I hope he gets a lot of game time out there, a lot of practices and exposure. Ashik Kurunian, again, he's making his presence felt in the national team finally. Vignesh D. Rahim Ali. Well, that's a good midfield squad to have right now, and I just think that all these players are still 3-4 years away from their prime.
Yeah,
a midfielder will probably peak around around the time they're 28 to 32. That's usually the time when they're physically and mentally at their best capabilities, and just to see this happen is so awesome. That these are already such accomplished players, and imagine when they form the core of the team, how India will perform. They will even be better than this.
This is close to being the next generation for India.
This looks like the next generation, and it looks like these guys are. You can literally look at a SAFF Championship game like against Sri Lanka or Nepal. You can rest the big stars. You can tell them to take a day off and go to the swimming pool and let these guys lose on the field. They'll still win. And that's what shows how relatively India's strength has increased within SAFF compared to other teams. Of course, not saying that they should do it, because if something goes wrong, that comes back to bite everybody. But yes, this is a really encouraging prospect. Forwards, man, guess who's back?
Chiranjeev, just a minute. I'm going to cut you off over there. Sumit Pasi.
Guess who's back? Back again. Pasi is back. So yeah, he's back. Of course, this is not the main national team here, but if he's somebody, of course, that Constantine believes has a lot of potential, and obviously he has not reached the 100% of it.
He's a good luck charm.
Maybe, possible, very possible, man. So the thing is, yeah, maybe he sees something in him that we don't see. He's the one who's looking at everybody in the practice sessions, right? So they're doing things in front of the coaches that they don't do for us. Yeah, who knows? This is an exposure tour. If you're going to take take potential talented players just to get them more game time and exposure, yeah, maybe that's the kind of player you want to take to just bring him out of his shell, because he's obviously not living up to his potential in the competitive stage, especially in the international level. Daniel Alimpuya, of course, you gotta have him. He's probably gonna take over. Gonna become one of the biggest attacking players in Indian football going forward. Hitesh Sharma, yeah, of course. Alan Theory, again, yes, definitely. Manveer Singh is there. After his performances for under 23, you want him out there. Kiwi Zimomi and Rahul KP. What do you think of these guys?
I think you see a good addition, a good mix of players who are really raw, and you see players who are quite ahead at their age, and so it's a good balance to have in the front department, especially with tall strikers. You require those aerial winners, and Manveer Singh is right up there, and along with that Daniel. I think these are good players to have when you want to get that edge in the final third. So I think here we will get into more as we get to know about the tour lineup, the schedule, and I think as the schedule comes out, we will get to know more about what's the idea.
That's one of the things, Kevin. Exposure tours. This entire thing depends on who they're playing.
Right.
And if they're going to Australia, I'm gonna have to guess that they're gonna play some club sides.
Correct.
So if they can like A-League club, they may not get. But if they can get a second division club, full side, that would be great. But the success and failure of these trips depends on who you're playing, and the ball is in AIFF's court. IOA has not supported us, has not given us the platform to test these players. So they have to bring together the right teams to make sure these guys get a proper workout out there. Australia under 23 would be perfect.
Oh,
I mean,
don't have too high hopes, Chiranjit. Come back.
Yeah, but no. If Indian national team is going out there to play over there, well, that's the best you can go. I think that's what AIFF should aim for. Try to get a date with Australia under 23.
Yeah.
Maybe get 2 games. You can rotate enough so that you can check each other out.
We can really hope.
I think it should happen. I think, yeah. And
yes, Chiranjit, I think it's good to have these club sides and even the national side. Probably we can really dream about that. If that happens, we will get to know more about the schedule, and once it is out, we will have a more further discussion. And here we are talking about Indian football once again. It feels good after the World Cup is over, and we will come back to you next week. Till then, do catch us on Twitter @TFG Football. If you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. What do you think about the SAFF Championship squad? Not the championship squad, at least the exposure to a squad which will probably be condensed into the final 23 players or so. And if you want to download the IVM podcast, you will be getting a lot of popular shows just like the TFG podcast. It's available on Android and iOS. Do give it a try, and we will catch you up next week. Till then, have a great time. Take care.
Hi, I'm Vishal Gondal, an entrepreneur. I've had the chance to meet and understand how some of the super achievers have hacked their way to success, and they have done spectacular innovations. Now I take a closer look at these people's lives to find out what lies beneath the force, only on the Vishal Gondal Show. Episodes out fortnightly on Wednesdays on the IVM website, app, or your favorite podcasting platform.
Hey, what's good, you guys? It's your boy Ranveer Alabadia from the YouTube channel Beer Biceps, and the Beer Biceps team is bringing you Hustle Science. Hustle Science is basically a show where we interview hustlers. We ask them about what made them legendary. We ask them about their success secrets. We go to the core of their legendary status in life. It's going to be hosted by my boy Tejaswin Gumber and yours truly, Ranveer Alabadia. Make sure you catch Hustle Science on the IVM podcasting app and website, or any kind of podcasting platform that you use to get your podcasts. Make sure you check it out. The episodes are going to be out every single Tuesday.